Hello and welcome back, and today I'm down on the coast and I'm just seeing if I can just get a very small wave. It's looking minimal. People are in the ocean at the minute enjoying themselves. I'm just waiting for it to drop back a little bit on the tide to see if it offers up a knee-high ride, but it's not looking very promising. But I'm going to talk about and touch on a subject that's becoming a bit of a problem down here, and indeed most places actually. So I'll just demonstrate what I'm talking about. So there's a nice real warm breeze coming off the land, because it's an offshore wind down here, and it's keeping up what waves there are, making them nice and stacked up and in lines. But as you can see, there's not much surf. There's a promise of one there as it's coming in that may be rideable, but I'm going to have to wait on that. Yeah, that one there is possibly rideable at a push. But as you can see, this is a stunning, absolutely glorious little out of the way cove. At the back of the beach there is actually a kind of little bit of a lagoon from a river. It's not the cleanest, but you know, there is wildlife here. I've seen dragonflies, insects, and there are plants. I'll just take you along here, along the path, and as you come up, if we can avoid the dog poo there, we have a fire. I'll come around this way. Now, people say fires are good for the ground and that, but as you can see, you've got possibly 12 to 14 inches of growth on grass this side and nothing here. This has been for quite a substantial period of time. The actual ash that's been left is not going to regenerate anything, because as it's got wet it's just turned to like a cement, which has inhibited any growth coming through, and indeed there's too much of it and it's changed the composition of the soil. Walking back up into the car park, we come across a major burnout from a fire. As you can see, whoever had one here decided to go large. Now you can completely see the whole, it's at least possibly a metre square completely around, and it's just totally burnt everything out. But the issue is, yet again, the actual left ash is inhibiting any growth, and there's so much of it, it's changed the composition of the soil. You can't get the regrowth in the centre part of the fire. The outer parts of the ring may get the benefit of the ash, but definitely the inside is of no use, and that will stay there for possibly a year or two, maybe up to 3 years. So leaving that ginormous fire, we come up over here. There's been a small one here. This is started to grow back. I suggest this is possibly a year, 2 years, but as you can see, the centre is still burnt out, and that won't regenerate for a long time. Just coming over the bank, we come down to another huge fire pit. This one was possibly nearly half a metre. We have growth around the outside, but the internal of the fire pit is still there. This has been here for possibly a year. As you can see, we've still got the embers there, but it's just too heavy for there to be any regrowth, and this will stay visible and indeed damage the environment for a long time to come here. So from that one, we walk around the back here, and we are presented with another one here. As you can see, this one's caused a fair bit of scorching to the ground on the outside. That's gone down to the soil. Somebody's took the ash away, but they've created a bowl, a depression, by taking the ash and the soil away that was contaminated from the fire burn. So they've done a half-hearted job, but they've left a bow. So that's kind of damaged the environment, taking the topsoil with it. You might be able to pick up a theme here. Yeah, not very pleasant here. We have dog poo here. There's been plenty of that, but that's a different topic. Yet again, we have evidence of another burnout, and there's ash and embers there. And we also have where they've tried to remove the ash, they've actually dug out from the ground. They've actually taken a fair bit of topsoil, and this area is supposed to be of archaeological significance and wildlife interest. So yet again, a fire has actually done its job and destroyed a bit of the environment here. Right then, so we have another fire pit here that's happened, and yet again the ash has been left, and the ash is so thick that you can't get regrowth. The embers have been left, the outer ring is visible, and this here won't have any regrowth for many years due to the fact when it rains this turns to slag, and it basically goes like cement, so you won't get no regrowth there. Right, just in the car park now, there's a big fire ring here, and as you can see there's no regrowth, and this won't heal or regenerate for many years to come. The ash is still visible, it's inhibiting any growth, it's sterilised the ground beneath it, and on top of that some of the topsoil has been removed. And as you can see, nothing is attempting to come back through that inner burn circle. Yet again, we're now in the car park. We still have evidence of fire pits, and as you can see, they've used stone and whatever they can get, but they've left the ash. Now, as you can see, the ground is scorched underneath, the embers are there, and there's a fair depression that's been left. We're not going to see any regrowth there for a substantial period of time, and indeed the stones have been left exactly where the vegetation would come back through. So yet again, another example of damage. And just to make this one more interesting, we have dog poo here, but as you can see, this one here, the ash has been left, it's been burnt out, nothing's going to come back through that for a long period of time, and that's only possibly a metre away from the other one. Here we have another, probably a barbecue I'd state, because it hasn't burnt down to the ground, but we do have the obvious dog poo bag left behind. But yeah, you're probably beginning to get the picture of what this is all about. Here we have ash that's been from a fire. Somebody's decided or thought they were being a little bit more environmentally friendly, but they've just tipped the ash straight in on top of good solid vegetation, which is now covered in a pile of ash, and that won't help it. And on top of that, it's going to smother it. When we rain, it will turn to slag, and it'd be like literally covering it with a cement putty, and yeah, that will kill that area, and obviously a baby wipe to go with it. And here we have another burnout, and the ash has been left behind. It's killed all the vegetation around it for about half a metre, and indeed nothing's going to grow back there, similar to all the other ones. But the difficulty is it's right in front of somebody's property, and indeed a public footpath. So yet again, very little consideration for other people. So here we go, somebody's collected a load of driftwood and firewood. It runs up onto the bank up there. Obviously they didn't finish burning it up. They were probably, you know, probably got late or they were too drunk. But you can see the fire pit burn here. And this is about a metre around this one also. You can see that there's no vegetation there, and it won't come back for a long time because that is burnt down to the actual soil. It's sterilised the complete ground. The ground is mixed in with ash, but yet again, people think ash helps the soil, but when it's of such a thick nature, it does nothing. It inhibits the growth till it basically gets dispersed by the environmental conditions around it. Because I'm no real massive sun freak, and it is absolutely redders out there, that I've decided to go for a little walk while I'm waiting for the tide to drop back. Now this is on a little bit of a road and a pull-off from that particular road, and it's only a very short moment away from the actual cove I've just shown you. Now I've just pulled up, actually got out my vehicle, and I've been presented with something I'm going to show you. So you have access to the walk down here on the left, as you can see, going into the woods. You've got a very quiet country lane and this pull-off area, and as you can see, it's nice and shaded and it's very pleasant being here. You've got the sun actually coming through the actual canopy, but there's enough shade here to make it pleasant. And then we come around here, we make our way down here to the back of the pull-off area, and there you go. A porta potty, and cube 165, if that means anything to anybody. I'm not getting any closer, because I can guarantee you there's not many people who'd want to mess about with that. Bear in mind what it actually is. So I'm following the track. I know where it goes to. It goes through somebody's actual garden actually, and then it goes out to a forestry, and it's a pleasant little walk. And yeah, this is quintessentially British, like public footpaths going through people's gardens and things like that, and it's just something that it is. And if you buy a property with a public footpath going through it, you kind of know what you're getting. And here's the stream that would be feeding that little bit of a lagoon that you saw earlier. But it's just trickling down through the valley and making its way to the sea. We're going to head up through here. You can see this winter this big old tree succumbed. And let's make our way up through here. And their fruit trees seem to be doing very well. I can't wait till my apple trees get to this size. Look at that. There's an abundance of an apple crop there. And the same with that one there. But we're going to make our way up through here. And the path goes up through here. And it'll come out onto the track, which will lead to the actual forestry. Just a few brambles that are overgrown now, I've got caught up in. And here we are. It's a recognised pathway. We have access. And everything is above board. Whoa, look at the size of those oak leaves. Absolutely huge. But anyway, let's get out here and continue our little talk. Go up through here. You can make your way down to another road there. We're going to go up through here. Shade. It's all about shade today. It is the heat wave after all. And unfortunately, on the back of what I'm going to talk about, dog poo in a bag, dog poo no actual bag, and the same there. And this is a really pleasant walk. I'm already cooling down, and to be honest with you, it'll give my car under the shade back there a chance to cool down, because I do have my surfboard in it. And if you're not aware, heat and sun can warp a surfboard. It is a man-made object of well, a petrochemical constituency, and it will warp with heat and sunlight on it. So yeah, that's all cooling down. I'm going to find somewhere just to have a little chat. So yeah, those fire scorch marks, there'll be people saying it's nothing to worry about, but the sheer volume and quantity on those small bits of grass, which is struggling to cling to life there in any case, and it has a biodiversity knock-on effect by then sterilising the ground of all potential seeds, tubers, root systems. And indeed, you get invasive plants which can cope with those conditions more, take over, and you start to lose the local flora, shall I say. It's just something that you know, can easily be avoided if you just get a fire pit or a method to keep the heat and the fire from the ground. There's plenty of things on the market you can have in the boot of your vehicle or car or what have you, and it would allow you to enjoy a fire without doing that damage to the environment. And indeed, ash, people think ash that is fantastic for vegetation. Well, it is, but not in vast quantities. In vast quantities, it just smothers and becomes like, particularly when it's been wet and sun-baked, it becomes absolutely like a cement putty. You know, so it inhibits the actual growth. A small bit of ash will do your garden wonders, or plants wonders, but not in that vast quantity. And then it starts to alter the soil composition and everything around it. So yeah, in effect it sterilises the whole area. Then you've also got the microbes, the bugs, insects that are living or buried underneath it. You do a lot of damage. Just get a mechanism to keep the fire off the ground and the heat away from the ground. Give it a chance. It can be avoided. Dog poo, that could be irresponsible locals, but unfortunately here this is used by holiday makers who basically enjoy the coast and then go for a nice cooling walk in the forest afterwards. So there's every chance, you know, it was somebody down here to enjoy the coast and all this in one hit. Right then, as for the porta potty, well, that, what can I say, you know, the amount of times I've seen, you know, people say Vanlifers get a rough deal and everything like that, and then you see that, and I've seen a multitude of other instances, and yes, it probably is just a few individuals doing it, and obviously, and coming into van life, that to be honest with you, the environment and that way of life is nothing more than just playing at it, shall I say. The rest of it is just doing what they want when they want. And that obviously upsets locals, gives bad names to the van life community, and indeed the implications follow on from that. And that brings me on to the new trespass laws which have just come into force. You may be forgiven to not realise that they are in existence. I don't have any legal qualifications and I'm not legally minded, and I certainly won't be going into depth into this particular subject or trying to, you know, discuss it in any depth. All I'm going to say is they are now, or they've made their way completely right the way through the system to allow them to become on the actual tools of enforcement, shall I say. And so yes, they are here, they can be enforced, and there are severe penalties. And even if the penalties ain't enough, you have to bear in mind, if you're convicted of them, could that actually be a bar from you travelling, getting jobs, and on top of that, anything else that may need you to disclose if you have a criminal record, which possibly this could be, you know, put you on a criminal record file. So yes, you know, those things have come on to online, shall I say, so that you can be convicted of them. You can find out all the relevant information if you go to the government website and just Google it or tap in and search for the new trespass laws, and you can read it in full yourself. I'm still trying to digest some of it, which may be relevant to me and it may not be relevant, so I'm still trying to get a handle on it. So these laws were pretty much brought in to combat the travelling community and nomads or nomadic travellers who were making a life for various people, landowners, councils, stakeholders in private land, and anybody who has any interest in private land, be it financial or environmental or anything like that. You know, to try and get people removed was a costly and time-consuming legal process. And on top of that, you know, it really was a lot of stress involved in doing so. And it felt, in a lot of cases, you didn't have the law on your side. But yeah, these laws should combat that. But obviously, with a lot of things in life, you have to then be careful you don't fall foul of those new laws yourself in activities that you may be doing. I.e., for myself, I do the odd wild camp here and there, and I've done the odd car camp where I've been for a surf at 5 or 6 in the morning with a friend who doesn't live local, so we stayed overnight in our vehicles to surf together in the morning. By 10:30, 11 o'clock we're on our way and going home. But could we fall foul? I don't know. I've still got to read up and have a look and see myself. But as you can see, activities like you've just seen me point out will only enforce the idea that stronger and stronger legislation needs to come into play and be enforced and brought into the arsenal, the government and the justice system has here in this country to combat what you've just seen. I really hope, guys, that you can understand that, you know, we have to combat that with ourselves. So, you know, and by doing that, I mean, it's your behaviour, and if we all pull together and act responsibly, not antisocial, and everything like that, things, you know, can continue. It's only when things get out of hand do these laws come in existence. So yeah, I'm going to draw a conclusion there. But like I said, I'm not legally trained or qualified, but I do strongly suggest you go and check out these new trespass laws and see if you or your activities may come into those catchments for it. But and if you've got any doubt, as always, get legal counsel. But yeah, it's a little bit of a sad one today with that and these topics. But yeah, this is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. I hope to see you out on the trail. And I'm hoping the tide's dropped enough now for me to get a very small wave. But all the best, and take care.